Welcome back to Overkill Reviews. My name is Sarah Kitteringham, and today we're reviewing the 6th studio album by Polish heavy metal institution Crystal Viper, and it is out today on AFM Records.
All right, so a little bit of insight into Crystal Viper. They were formed in 2003 by Polish guitarist and vocalist Marta Gabriel, who has anchored the band since their inception. They had to take a break in 2013 following some health issues, and now they are back. Crystal Viper's sound is definitely rooted in traditional heavy metal, and it's also mixed in with a little bit of speed metal. This is a band that worships Running Wild, Halloween, Iron Maiden, and you can definitely hear it in the guitars approach and in the vocal approach. And it works really well because I think that bands like this are kind of few and far between right now. The album kicks off appropriately with The Witch Is Back. So what you just heard is the perfect intro to Crystal Viper. You've got Marta Gabriel's howling, screaming, King Diamond-esque intro to the album. In the first 25 seconds of this record, you immediately know what you're gonna hear. There's this very bombastic and barreling guitar and drum work, but in the next 25 seconds, you're more introduced to what Marta's normal range is. Her vocals are definitely rooted in the traditional heavy metal realm, and her guitar work is definitely very blazing with a lot of leads. A little bit later into the song, things slow down and we're led right into some tasty guitar work. Near the end of the song, we hear the chorus again, and this chorus is great for this song because it's accompanied by utterly fucking relentless drumming. Song 5, Do or Die, features Ross the Boss of Manowar fame. I love Ross the Boss! These song intros in Crystal Viper's album are skillful as hell because you immediately get a sense of the groove, and there's a great juxtaposition of the guitar, the drums, and the bass, and it all fits into the overall chorus. And here, once again, we know exactly what that chorus is gonna sound like. Basically what we're hearing is that do or die. It's very driving, it's very heavy, and it's definitely in the Manowar realm. Just over 2 minutes into the song, we're treated to what I'm pretty sure is the Ross the Boss solo. The solo is badass and Manowar rules, and it really sucks that Ross the Boss is no longer a part of them because he is Manowar.
I love Ross the Boss!
That being said, he is now doing a solo thing, and they are playing at Legions of Metal Festival in May in Chicago, so you should come. Okay, so here's where the review gets a little bit negative. We're now going to address the fact that there are 2 ballads in this album, and the song 8 is not bad.
But I just really don't fucking like ballads.
The song is called We Will Make It Last Forever, and it's a ballad with Steves from Saracen, who are 80s cult heavy metal, new wave of British heavy metal heroes. Now, I'm not trying to shit talk, because there is a precedent for ballads in heavy metal. And this album has 2 of them. And Marta's a great vocalist, Steve's a great vocalist, but there's just something about a ballad for me that is a complete boner killer.
I'm like a child in the night, all alone.
you hear their voices juxtaposed, and while their voices are definitely complementary and there's nothing really bad going on, this just doesn't do it for me.
No, you cannot give up to bury pain in the sands of time. Never, I don't know how I could live without. Oh no, I don't.
So again, I'm not trying to shit talk heavy metal bands that have ballads because there is a precedent in heavy metal history. Judas Priest has them, Manowar has them, fuck, Halloween has them. And sometimes they're great, and a lot of the time, they're not great. But the fact is, 2 ballads on one album is too much, and this album has 2 ballads. So thankfully, the album ends just as strong as it starts, and this song fucking rips. Next up, we're treated to the other thing that Crystal Viper is very good at, the blazing, high-end, squealing heavy metal solo. You're really hearing the speed metal elements that this band was founded upon with their 2007 debut, The Curse of the Crystal Viper. I really like when they're going into full-on speed metal / traditional heavy metal territory. A gong. What a perfect way to end a traditional heavy metal album, especially in a genre that worships Japanese Land of the Rising Sun mythology and imagery. Although that song is technically the last song on the album, the physical format, both the CD and the LP, have covers on them. The CD has a cover of Grim Reaper's classic See You in Hell. So with this song, you're hearing a fairly faithful to form Grim Reaper cover. And this is something that traditional heavy metal bands have a habit of doing. Some would call it a bad habit, some might not, because these are classics that they're covering, but I don't necessarily want to hear a true to form cover of this song, because I've heard this song 10,000 times. On the vinyl version, we're getting a copy of Exciter's Long Live the Loud, and there's actually a tribute to Exciter album that's coming out in April, and that's via Marta Gabriel's husband's record label, and that record label is called Skull Records. And Skull Records is actually doing a lot of cool stuff within traditional heavy metal, and they're really recognizing bands that are good in the traditional heavy metal underground. So this Exciter album that's coming out in April has covers by Gatekeeper, which is probably my favorite Canadian heavy metal band. It also has a cover by Savage Master, who is an amazing American traditional heavy metal band. And then it's got covers by Crystal Viper and other illustrious company. So both of these covers are relevant to the overall feel of the album, and I'll explain why in the verdict. Crystal Viper's album, it really hits a lot of the traditional heavy metal milestones. Maybe milestones isn't the right word, but it's firmly rooted in traditional heavy metal worship. There are guest spots by Mantas from Venom, and I should say Venom Inc., which is the more legit version of Venom going right now. There's also guest spots from Ross the Boss of Manowar.
I love Ross the Boss.
Not only that, but you got a cover of Grim Reaper, and this is at a time when Steve Grimnett from Grim Reaper just got out of the hospital for having his leg amputated while on tour in South America. Like, this is an album that loves and represents the community that it is part of. That being said, there's a weird kind of thing going on with this record. As much as I love the heavy, hard songs and the clear, masterful display that Marta is putting on, I really am not digging the ballads.
Don't fucking like ballads.
The one other thing about this album that I'm not super digging is the production. And I know that this is a fight for the ages because this style of heavy metal does demand clean production style simply because you want to hear those amazing riffs, you want to hear the amazing solos, and you want to hear the amazing vocals. It's a little too clean for me, and I want it to be a little bit dirtier to the point that it has a bit more soul. So that all being said, Crystal Viper is fucking badass, and I could only wish to be as good of a guitarist as Marta Gabriel is. I think that this band has come back from a 4-year struggle very triumphantly. And just because I'm an asshole who doesn't like ballads does not mean that you are an asshole who doesn't like ballads. Altogether, this record is great. Marta is a fantastic guitarist, she's a fantastic vocalist, and her bandmates and her are in excellent form. So, overall, 3.5 skulls out of 5 here on Overkill Reviews.